take away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the entire United States of America. Good morning to the world, receiving our signals via the magic of the internet created by we the people under the auspices of the ARPANET project by the government. In other words, by we the people. Yes, we the people do a lot together. They would like us to forget that. Anyhow, before and without any further ado, I hope you had a great weekend, but let's pass it on to the studio.
Well, good morning, Egberto. It is Monday, the 17th of March at the radio, and Jack and I are here. Tin cans and stringer holding up. Decent weather. Looks like we're going to have a good day. I am just on the verge of a rant. I'm just wondering, should I rant today or should I not?
I think you should rant. I vote for a rant. I vote for a rant.
Well, all righty then. The rant has to deal with the press. What is a press person? The little girl who talks for Donald Trump. This morning I saw a little piece on her that said she was talking about Trump's tariffs, and she says, "Well, all he wants is fair trade." Well, look at India. They've got a 100% tariff on U.S. goods, and she named off a few of them. Canada has like a 200% tariff on dairy products. There seems to be a lot of confusion about who pays the tariff. The tariff is an extra tax that it goes into the country's coffers. The people who buy the product are paying the tariff.
The tariff.
Yeah, so and I think this comes from Trump himself and some of his campaign stuff, saying, well, so-and-so is going to pay the tariffs. China's going to pay the tariffs. No, people, we're going to be paying the tariffs. And if the Canadians want to pay a 200% tariff on U.S. dairy goods, well, that's up to them. That's not up to us. So get the idea of a tariff. Get it right. Get the definition of a tariff. Now, if I wanted to go buy a foreign car that had a 50% tariff on it, that money comes out of my pocket and goes into our government's pocket. So we pay the tariffs. That's my rant this morning, to figure out how in the world people are not understanding what a tariff is. So there you go.
Well, thank you for that, because people need to understand that. And I think Donald Trump, with his continuous lying and making people believe otherwise, it hurts us because we start supporting his policies, not realizing we're screwing ourselves. Thanks for that, my brother. But I know Brother Jack is going to have a rant for us. Actually, Brother Jack isn't a rant. Brother Jack is our word of wisdom. But you know what? You just offered a word of wisdom. You call it a rant, but it was a word of wisdom. So what can I say? Hey, Jack.
Well, however you want to define it, that's fine by me.
That was education. He was educating the public.
Educating the public.
You were educating the public. Anyway, give us some more education, Jack.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing fine, sir.
Trump and Musk are stealing Social Security benefits from seniors. This amounts to a barbaric cruelty. I share Donna Brazile's disgust with the Democratic Party, as they are failing to create a defense to protect the people from Trump's authoritarianism, his autocracy, and his fascism. The fascist intentions for the U.S. citizen. House Democrats, you better unite and get busy protecting the citizens, or the citizens will turn their back and their votes on you. If they tear all these social safety programs apart and you didn't fall on your sword to save these programs, who are you letting down? Ultimately, you and your children.
Exactly, Jack. And there's something I did want to interject this morning. Schumer, Chuck Schumer, they passed that bill to keep the government open until September. I understand why he did what he did. There's an explanation for it. Now, if they had allowed a government shutdown, that would have given Trump even more power to stop. It's unstoppable power because, oh, well, you guys let the government shut down, so I'm going to take over this and that and the other. Schumer's getting a lot of heat for that one, and I understand why they're upset with him. I do. But the final result would be it hands more power to Trump. That's why he did it. I get it. So that's all I got to say.
All right, I'm going to have a sort of a different perspective on this, but it doesn't even only start with Brother Schumer. It starts with not laying the foundation, and for a good reason why the Democratic Party right now is at an all-time low, and justifiably so, because there, there's too much timidity and too little fight. And now you guys have me on where do I start? You know what I mean? You hear that, audience? You see what my two partners do to me every single morning? They I have all this show planned out the night before, then I don't exactly know where to start. But I think I'm going to start with the Schumer thing. Look, under ideal conditions, I would say Schumer did the right thing, but we are in extraordinary conditions, and there's a lot in these confounded CR. It's a continued when these guys cannot, when Congress cannot get their you know what together, they have to keep the government open by issuing what's called a CR, a continuing resolution. And when they issue these continuing resolutions, the ideal continuing resolution is what's called a clean CR, which means we will just assume nothing changed and we are going to keep spending at the same levels for the same things that we've been spending over the last fiscal year. And that's what everybody should have just worked towards, because at that point you're not talking ideology, you're not talking adding anything, etc. But what Howard said is true. Once you have a cut, or not a cut, once you have the government close, then at that point the executives get more power to decide what is essential and what is non-essential, because the essential is what has to continue being paid for. The non-essential goes on furlough. And given the vindictive thug that our current president is, what would then occur is that he would call essential and non-essential things that do maximum damage to his enemies, meaning blue states, meaning blue counties, etc. But the thing about it is, while there are blue states and blue counties, etc., within all these blue states and these blue counties and these blue states live red people, meaning people that are MAGA, people that are conservatives, etc. So you cannot hurt people on a particular area without hurting your own. So there would be some built-in limits to the damage that he can do if the government is closed. And then, given that it should be advertised that once the government is closed, the current government has all the probabilities to be. I mean, the current executive, if the Democrats did what they're supposed to do, which they generally don't do, they would be able to assign all the blame where it belongs, the executive, which is the president. But the reason we are in this pickle in the first place is that the fact that Schumer accepts responsibility for saying the reason he voted for the CR is so that Democrats don't get blamed for the government closure is the problem. I want you to think about that. Schumer voluntarily accepted that if the government closes, it would be his problem. It would be the Democrats' problem. In January, all of January, or rather, in January since the 20th, when Trump was installed, in all of February, the groundwork should have been led on every channel, every news channel, every internet channel, every social media channel, every email list, pointing out that the Republicans will shut the government down with the types of policies they have in the CR bills that they're working on. That should have been laid out so that nobody would doubt that if the Republicans don't negotiate a CR, that a shutdown would occur on their watch caused by them. But all we heard from the Democrats on these issues were crickets, crickets, nothing. So therefore, now that it's right upon us, we even have Schumer saying we are the reason we aren't going to shut down the government. Those words came out of his mouth. So therefore, every commercial, every ad that comes on TV after a shutdown would simply print Schumer saying the reason why we shut down the government. It is marketing. I'm going to say this first and then I'm going to correct. It's marketing malpractice for Schumer to ever associate the word shutdown and democratic. Shutdown and democratic should never be uttered from his mouth. It should have always been, if Republicans don't do this, they would have been shutting down the government. But again, you can make ads now with the things that came out of his mouth. Malpractice, but is it really malpractice? No. Remember, 2 days prior, Schumer was given all the reasons why he was supporting not voting for the bill, which means the Republicans were going to shut down the government for not allowing particular negotiations on the bill. And Schumer agreed. But guess what happened in the interim, folks? Donald Trump's tariffs started to go haywire, and the market started to crash. And all these billionaires, including Elon Musk lost near $100 billion. That just shows you that the market is a casino, because nothing got created or destroyed, but he lost $100 billion. It just shows you that our economic system is a scam, that somebody could lose $100 billion in a few days. It's a scam. It's money that don't really exist. But we'll talk economics another day. But now what you think Wall Street did? Because Wall Street owns Schumer. The reason Schumer doesn't pass certain people's bills, the reason we didn't get the Medicare expansion to the reason we didn't get the public option to the Obamacare was because of Schumer and all these other Democratic Congress people, not Republicans on this case. Democrats are the ones who made healthcare under Obamacare less than it could be. I mean, it's better than anything the Republicans were willing to offer, but it was substandard because it was a gift to insurance companies anyhow. But Wall Street got to Schumer in less than 2 days and ordered him. And look, I don't have the evidence, and I tell you guys when I'm talking factually and when I'm talking surmisedly. And I am assuming that when you do what's called reductio ad absurdum, which means any other reason would be absurd. The market is falling. It is falling like a rocket, like a dead rock, like a rocket moving in the wrong direction. And Schumer comes out hurriedly. I don't know if you guys saw what happened. Schumer was all in for not supporting the CR. And then Suddenly, he starts to make the rounds. He does the Chris Hayes show, and he does CNN, and he does others saying, I've decided to support the vote, even though I said no before. And he runs to all the channels to start telling them why he's going to support it. And then Donald Trump says, thank you, Schumer. You did the right thing. Schumer doesn't understand what that looked like when Donald Trump says you did the right thing. It showed that he capitulated. It showed that he was now a Trump stooge. It showed that he was like, Trump wins again, even as most people don't want it. Trump wins again. I mean, politics is not what they were playing, it's politics for the wealthy. I got to hit up Social Security, but before I do that, David's on the line. Brother David, come on in.
Good morning, Alberto. Yeah, do you watch Rachel Maddow?
I love Rachel. Yes, I do watch Rachel.
Yeah, apparently last Friday, I'm pretty sure it was Friday's episode. She runs this thing about how they shut down Congress, and apparently Donald Trump declared an emergency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the Congress has the ability to oppose that emergency, to challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
And so apparently, we think that today is St. Patrick's Day, but apparently, according to the Lord God, who is it, Mike Johnson,
Right.
he has frozen Congress. Yeah, he has frozen Congress into either last Thursday or last Friday.
Yes.
And so the time itself has stopped.
Yes.
And there are not going to be any more birthdays. There's not going to be St. Patrick's Day or April Fool's Day. We're always going to be stuck on on March 12th. And so in order to refuse to allow Congress to challenge Trump's capturing power, we're frozen in a date that will never change, and it's sort of like what was that Bill Murray Day or the Bill Murray?
Right, Groundhog Day.
Yeah, and so we're frozen in time, and that shows how phony these people are. And
David, this requires some explanation here because I want our audience to understand how deep that is at what you're speaking about. What our brother David, where are you? Michigan, right?
No, California,
California.
Francisco.
You're in San Francisco. Wow, you're listening early, brother. But anyway, let's
Oh,
do
yeah.
this. Let's do this. This is important, David. You brought up, and I'm glad you did because I don't think I covered that. What Johnson did in the CR, and this is another reason why this CR should not have passed. They put in a clause, and so it just shows you that what Schumer said was BS as well, right? It put in a clause inside of this bill. I think it was a CR where it was placed, and it said the following. It said that for the sake, first of all, Congress has the authority to go against to stop Trump from destroying the economy with tariffs and all of that. Once he executes an executive order that says the tariffs will be X, Y, and Z, Congress can come in and say, no, you can't do this with tariffs, right? They don't want the responsibility for saving the Americans' economy from Trump, right? Because if it comes to the Congress, Congress will, anybody not voting to stop these tariffs would be in trouble. So most Republicans as well would vote to stop the tariffs. Johnson doesn't want to give Republicans and Democrats an opportunity to go against Trump's on tariffs. So what he does is since they have X amount of days in which they can challenge those tariffs, etc., he made sure that days didn't move on. So he said, for the purpose of legislation or legislating, we are still today. It is amazing what they've done. And in effect, they have given over or they have usurped their power, meaning they have said, we don't have any power over the president. And once the president signs that bill, remember, you can't just unsign a bill. You have to get a bill brought up to undo what you did. And what they've done is prevented themselves from undoing what the president has done. It is sad,
Yeah,
David, and thank you for bringing that up.
sure, yeah, but if Mike Johnson claims that he's the new Moses and he can freeze time, well, does that mean that the transactions that all financial transactions will never have a new date? That the interest rates don't work? There are thousands and thousands of different things. If time is frozen, then like I was making a joke about no more birthdays, or it's not really St. Patrick's Day or any other day. According to that resolution, I think it's 15 days that Congress has the ability to challenge, and
Right.
so he's frozen it to the end of Congress. But if Congress, if he's frozen time, then does Congress ever leave office? And it kind of gets to, you remember when Trump was asked about if would you be a dictator, and he said only on the first day. Well, if they're going to claim that they can freeze time, does that mean that day never ends?
And
So
that's a good
they're,
point, right?
yeah, they're con artists beyond belief, and I think we can obviously affect this, because if they're going to claim that time is frozen, then they don't get breakfast anymore. You had breakfast.
Good one. Anyway, thank you for that, David. David, anything else you want to talk about? But first of all, thank you for bringing that subject up. I think that's a very important thing that a lot of people don't realize, and that is what Schumer and all these guys effectively supported as well. But thank you, brother.
Sure. Yeah, April or Rachel Maddow did a pretty good explanation of it. I'm doing a sloppy one because, like you say, it is early, but it's a very bizarre thing, and it's got a jujitsu to it. That if they're going to claim time is frozen, then I guess they don't get interest rates, they don't get dividends anymore, they
Well,
don't get.
the truth of the matter is, I don't. I think somebody could argue that on constitutional terms. Oh, Howard says they shouldn't get paychecks either. After all, the day never ends, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But anyway, look, thank you very much, David. I need to get into some Social Security here. All right. Thank you, brother. All right, folks. Look, the other subject I want to touch is Social Security. Every single, and we are going to talk a lot about Social Security between now and whenever these criminals create a new budget. And notice I call them criminals because they're stealing your money. They are stealing your money and giving it away to wealthy folks. We have had for the last several decades a transfer of wealth, a transfer of earnings, a transfer of income from the middle class and the poor to the wealthy. And we don't have to ask anymore if that is occurring, because if you look at what the numbers tell you, that is exactly what they would tell you. Hank Lamb points out that don't forget Donna was a cheat. I think you're talking about the questions for Hillary Clinton, if I recall correctly, that you're talking about, as well as what happened with Bernie Sanders. I know, Hank, both of us were. In fact, I was a Bernie Sanders delegate to Philadelphia. Hank, let me just tell you, I am not going to argue that point with you because, for all practical purposes, based on what happened, you're correct. But let me just add one thing. The Democratic Party at this point in time, uh, as I mentioned, if you can get Donna dissing the party as having the problems that we've described, then that illustrates how deep the problem really is. Really, if that's the person doing it. Anyhow, let's move on to Social Security. Thank you for your comment, Hank. let's move on to Social Security. As Trump must target Social Security, seniors starting to share their stories of benefits cutoff. This came in from an article at Common Dreams, one of the progressive papers that I like to read in the mornings. Well, I read it all day. I read all of them all day. And one of the things that I need to tell all of us, we need to start reading and supporting these progressive rags, these substacks from good people, and we need to also support them as best you can. A lot of these guys say $5 subscriptions, $10 subscriptions, all these kind of stuff. Uh, that is the way we are. The mainstream media is bought and paid for by the corporatocracy. If you want a media that you can trust, you are going to have to support a media that you trust. And I know a lot of times that sound like what is the word? Saying, hey, support KPFT, hey, support politics done right. That is exactly what I'm saying, folks. Because as you know, a lot of this corporate media, they just cannot do the job because of who's paying them. So yes, I make sure to I support probably 15, 20 different rags because you want them to remain existent and doing what they need to do. Okay, now, as Trump must target Social Security, seniors share stories of benefit cutoffs. That's how one political scientist responded on Saturday, reporting about a Washington state man fighting for his Social Security benefits as U.S. President Donald Trump and the head of his Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, billionaire Elon Musk, attacked the federal bureaucracy, including the agency that administer payments to seniors like Leonard Ned Johnson. Seattle Times columnist Danny Westneat shared the story of 82-year-old Johnson. In February, his wife received a notification from their bank that the Social Security Administration requests a return for benefits paid out after the supposed death of her husband. The 82-year-old man that still has life, the 82-year-old man that is active and still around, he's dead, right? She figured it was a scam, as Johnson was alive, but the request was real, and $5,201 was pulled from his account. As Westneat detailed, after making multiple calls to the Social Security Administration, during which Johnson was put on hold and then eventually disconnected, and he went to the office on the 9th floor of the Henry Jackson Federal Building downtown, one of several sites across the United States that DOGE wants to shut down. According to the columnist, hear this. This should make your blood boil. After waiting for 4 hours, Johnson admits he jumped the line. I saw an opening and I kind of rushed up and told them I was listed as dead. That seemed to get their attention. Once in front of a human, Johnson said he was able to quickly prove he was alive using his passport and his gift of gab. They pledged to fix his predicament, and on Thursday this past week, the bank called to say it had returned the deducted deposits to his account. As of Friday morning, he hadn't received February or March's benefit payments. When I was in that line, I was thinking that if I was living solely off of Social Security, I could be close to dumpster diving about now, he said. I want you all to think about that. Doge, meaning Elon Musk and Donald Trump, with a whole bunch of computer hackers who do not understand the intricacies of the computer program that governs the payment of your Social Security to you, goes out there and make believe that millions, or I should say hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Social Security recipients are dead. And in calling them dead, they have repatriated monies out of their accounts. They've just sucked money out of their accounts and took it. Suppose you were an old person living solely on Social Security, pay Social Security check to Social Security check. Know that those who are running Social Security now, your government under the auspices of Donald Trump and co-president Musk, that your Social Security payments are at risk. You know, let me give you some advice right now. I'm going to give you some advice right now. Every month, you get your Social Security payments. And I know the problem is that many older people don't know the intricacies of doing things online, etc. But this is one of those times where you may want to do this. Have a different account where your Social Security check is deposited. And as soon as it is deposited, throw it into another account and use the other account as the account you spend out of. Because right now, the machinations that's occurring in Social Security likely dictates that you move that so that the automatic account that they have on file isn't the account where things happen. Or maybe just open a new account, change the account that Social Security is grabbing from, and do that. This is free advice that I'm giving to folks. And this doesn't require me to have a financial license, a stockbroker license, or anything to tell you how to protect yourself temporarily from these attacks. Now, that said, all of you that are at a certain age, because these hackers, these 19, 20, and 21-year-olds that Doge is using to go through all the Social Security code, etc. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't understand the programming that was done 40 years ago and how the different things that you do in computer programming. They don't get it, but they go there gung-ho to make Social Security more efficient, not understanding that Social Security as it is right now is very efficient. Do we know that there are a few overpayments and underpayments being made? Yes, and it is fixed one item at a time because they did some research that said if we go ahead and fix the entire system, it will cost more money than doing it the way we're doing it. These are things that have been done before. Social Security system is very efficient. Don't let anybody fool you. Is there fraud? There is fraud in anything. In fact, there's more fraud in the private sector than in the public sector because the private sector is the one that rips off the government from left to right. The military industrial complex rips off the government. The food industrial complex rips off the government. So a lot of your money right now that is being overcharged into all these other private sector companies, they are the ones that are ripping us off, not the government. If you want to solve the problem about us paying much too high prices for things we shouldn't pay, go to the private sector who is ripping us off left and right, folks. You know, when you charge $1 million for a bomb that costs you $5,000 to make, that's a ripoff. When you charge $33 million for a plane that costs you $10 million to make, that's a ripoff. When you charge $5 for a bottle of mustard that you can go to HEB and get for under $1, that's a ripoff. Understand that the ripoff in our government isn't done by the government employees. It is done by the private sector who profits and sells to the government. And that private sector, it isn't even the employees in the private sector who benefit from said theft. It is the owners of capital, the small number of people like Musk that rip us off. When he sends a rocket to space, the overcharges that you and I pay for. Don't dare think that it's government employees that make government less efficient. It is the private sector that rips us off to the core. Please, people, we have to wisen up. We have to take stuff in our command and stop being stooges to those who rip us off. So, continuing with the article on Social Security. Author Jeff Nesbitt, the public affairs chief of 5 federal agencies or departments, including the SSA, under 4 presidents, shared the article on Musk-owned social media site X, saying, "So incredibly sad that Musk Doge are now preying on people like this. I hope older Americans understand the assault underway against Social Security is right now." You don't have to sit back and think that, well, they always talk about uh, taking our Social Security or taking our Social Security private, and that's not going to happen. They just talk about it. It's not going to happen. So it's okay for me to vote for right-wing conservatives because they're not going to really do it. Well, they're doing it this time. Because this president that we have here is not like any other president. This guy doesn't mind just blowing stuff. And when you have a cult behind you, you can get it done. And as you can see, the Congress of the United States, under the auspices of the Republicans, is a cult. Under the auspices, even the minority party in Chuck Schumer is lining up in line to be a part of the cult. Progressive political consultant Matt Hurden similarly said, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are stealing seniors' hard-earned benefits. It's already happening, and it will get worse if they go through with closing branch offices and cutting staff. Think about it. As they cut staff and cut telephones, etc., where you can't reach them, your money gets taken away from you. And you have a hard time recovering, fighting the government because you can't reach anybody on the phone. The offices that are being closed, and guess where a lot of them gonna close? In rural areas, folks. So you MAGA folks that are on Social Security and all these other programs, and your rural offices are closed, when they forget to give you your check or when they take the money back out, you know how difficult it will be for you to get that reinstated. And in the process of getting it reinstated, that money is in the coffers of the United States government on their ledger sheet, not as a payable, but as savings. So if you die in the process, that is just monies that the government has stolen from you and continues to have. People, you have to understand what is occurring here. This isn't conjecture, what I'm telling you here. This is happening. This is actually happening. McCaffrey learned that his Social Security benefits were suspended when he received a notice saying that he needed to pay $740 or he was going to lose Medicare. Health insurance for seniors after multiple phone calls and hours on hold. Listen to this, the amount of time you got to put in. Hours on hold. He finally got through. He then quickly received the missing payment, but never got an explanation. And SSA, Social Security, refused to give one to the news station. In other words, they just screwed up, purposefully screwed up. However, McCaffrey believes his trouble may stem from the fact that he was born on a U.S. military base in Germany, and Musk's recent Fox Business appearance, during which he claimed that undocumented immigrants are receiving benefits. These buffoons that are running, my place of birth, right? If you look at my passport, I am a U.S. citizen with an American passport, and it has a thing that says place of birth. My place of birth is Panama. So those buffoons that work under the Trump administration see that somebody's citizenship is they don't look at citizenship, they look at place of birth, and then say, oh, look, illegal immigrant getting Social Security. I mean, the level of ineptitude in the Trump administration, but further, it affects all of you. Because you know what? There's a city in the United States called Panama City. And if these guys have such lousy algorithms in their AI that they're doing to find all this stuff, just seize Panama. People in Panama City, Florida, may actually get their Social Security docked. I'm just saying. Okay, so However, McAfee believes his trouble may stem from the fact that he was born in Germany and Musk's recent Fox Business appearance, during which he claimed that undocumented immigrants are receiving benefits. That came shortly after a podcast interview during which billionaire called Social Security a Ponzi scheme. McCaffrey is now concerned about other seniors facing similar issues, as KFOR reported. He worries about people who may not have the time and resources he had to get to the bottom of what happened and get his benefit back. What he means by that is some people are just going to throw their hands up in the air and say, well, I guess I'm not getting Social Security anymore. I'll go ahead and try to get money from, when you're not informed of how your government works or your rights. And there are millions of Americans who can't read, who don't understand their rights, who don't understand government, that when they just stop getting the money, they'll just go to their country church and say, well, I stopped getting money from the government. And then that church will raise funds to take care of them, etc., etc., etc. That is a way of stealing money from those who least can afford to be stolen from, because the rich guy getting Social Security, when they stop paying him Social Security, he's going to raise hell, and she's going to go down there and really make sure, what the hell is happening to my Social Security? That's an earned benefit. A poor person who doesn't know their rights may just sit down and take it. And once again, the poor and the middle class pays the price of being stolen from, whether legal or illegally. Our economic system, as it stands today, steals from the poor and the middle class legally. We have to understand these concepts. I hope more of you listen to these programs, share these programs, understand our system. They depend on you not understanding the system to rip you off. They expect that, folks. They expect that. In response to McCaffrey's experience, Ashley Shapley, a public relations professional who previously worked for Social Security, Democrats, and the U.S. Treasury Department, said, picture thousands of Social Security beneficiaries having their benefits canceled with no explanation and limited recourse to get them reinstated. Trump and Musk's recent moves and remarks have fueled fears that they are working to privatize Social Security. U.S. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Democrat of Rhode Island, laid out a potential GOP attack plan for the program on X Friday. Hey, you know what's so funny? What he laid out is what I placed in one of my Substacks. And that's exactly how they intend to privatize Social Security and screw you. And here is how Sheldon spoke about it. One, the first thing they do, Trump and his vassals tell lies that there's no plan to cut Social Security. So they put that in your head, that they don't have any plans to cut Social Security. Notice they don't say we're not cutting Social Security. They say we don't have plans to cut Social Security. The second thing they do then, Trump and Musk lie loudly about imaginary Social Security fraud to lower public confidence in the program. They want you to believe that the program sucks. So they're going to tell you all these bad things that are happening in the program, even though you have been receiving your check and everything correctly for years. But they know, they understand that they can control your mind if your mind is feeble, if your mind is gullible. They know that. So they start to pump that in your mind. There's something wrong with Social Security. It's a lot of fraud in Social Security. Número tres. Musk sends his nasty muskrats into Social Security to damage administration of the fund, leading to interruption in benefits. So you start to see problems pick up. Things start not working. And this is the part that gets me with our American psyche. If your Social Security has been working for decades, all right? Your Social Security have been working for decades. You have been getting your money, you've been getting funded for decades after you retired. And it all worked perfectly. Donald Trump, along with his co-president Musk, comes into power and it stops working. They think you are so stupid. The Trump administration and Musk, they think you are so stupid that instead of saying Social Security is broken because you broke it, They think you're going to say Social Security is broken because of government. They don't equate that you are going to say Social Security is broken because of you, Trump, and Musk. You all broke it. So after they break it, the step 4, Trump then declares emergency and hands administration of Social Security to private equity and tech bros to fix the problem they created. Okay? Again, think about it. After they tell you it's broken, they want to tell you that to fix it, and by the way, how did it get broken? They laid off all these Social Security workers. They went into the Social Security program and talk about there being dead people and illegal immigrants getting Social Security, both of which are false. But they tell you that to try to get you to believe that the system is broken, and then they declare an emergency and turn it over to the private sector, who we know is the biggest. The private sector in banking and finance are our biggest thieves in this country, and they turn it over to those guys. And number 5, then Republicans declare victory that they saved Social Security by handling it to private equity bros and put Trump name on checks. People, we've been telling you this, and if you think you doubt it, remember during the pandemic, Congress, the Democratic Congress, started paying out funds to keep the economy afloat. And the only way Donald Trump would sign the funds from the Democratic Congress was if it had his name on it. So now you have a lot of people just saying, yeah, Donald Trump gave us money during the pandemic, not realizing that he demanded his name be placed on a check that he previously said, I'm not going to pass a bill that gives money to people. Why do people buy this? Why do the gullible buy it? Because of a derelict Democratic Party. Because of a derelict Democratic Party. The reason Donald Trump can get away with this crap is because the Democratic Party has weakened themselves. And to those who ask, why is the Democratic Party, or how or why did it allow itself to be weakened? It was by design. It's not that the progressives in the party are still strong, they just have no power. What made it difficult is because the ones who are owned by the Wall Street and the plutocracy, they don't want the progressive nature of us all to emerge because it's right on the lid, folks. But you have to be ready. You have to be ready to take command. We only have about 10 minutes to answer calls. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Let's go to Tag. Come on in, Tag.
Good morning, Berto. How are you?
I'm doing fine, my brother. Talk to me.
Did you hear about the 300 that got sent to El Salvador this weekend?
After the federal judge has blocked stayed his yes, and they still got sent to El Salvador. It's a shame. Yeah, he disobeyed the court.
Yeah, and they said, "Oops, we made a mistake. Sorry."
Yeah, he disobeyed the court.
I know somebody. I think that I know an enemy foreign combatant that should go to El Salvador.
I know his name is Musk.
You and I are on the same page there, aren't we?
Well, you know, Musk was an undocumented immigrant when he came to the United States, according to his brother. This is not out of my mouth. His brother pointed out that they were undocumented for some time while here in the United States. Maybe people need to talk, but you know, if that was Obama, you'd hear a whole lot more about it, right? If he was here in an undocumented form, of course Obama is a born American citizen, but if it were somebody else on the progressive side, you would have heard, he's here illegally. But now that Musk was here illegally, according to his brother, nobody talks about it. Anyway, Tag, I got to go to other calls. Anything else you want to say real quick?
And I just believe that Musk is an enemy combatant.
Yes.
I don't think, in my mind, there's no doubt about that. So,
I
yeah, that's it. Thanks,
I have
Berto.
no
Have a
doubt
good
about
day.
it. Thank you, my brother Tag. Let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart. Okay, if we drop somebody, please remember that you can always call back 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738. Let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart. And if we dropped you accidentally, folks, just give us a call back, 713
Oh,
526 5738. Go ahead, Bart.
yes, sir. And the NGOs were attempting to sign up illegals as they crossed the border for Social Security. So what sense does that make? And that is
All right,
Catholic.
like I told you, I will not allow
saying?
lies on my channel. So let's go to line number one. Line number one. Let's go to line number one. No lies on this channel. Uh, line number one, you're on. Just start talking and you'll know if you're on. Who I have the honor to speak to?
Buenos
Everybody.
dias.
Buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás? Go ahead. ¿Quién
We're
me habló en
we're
español?
having a little bit of we're having an issue with our phone. So
No
stand by,
problem.
please.
No problem.
ahead and
No
talk.
problem. Go ahead and talk, folks. Everybody talk.
This is Robin from Indianapolis.
Robin from Indianapolis. How are you doing, our beautiful Robin? Sister Robin, talk to me.
Yep. Hope you're doing well. I was listening to the previous caller mention the Venezuelans when I was going through my Google algorithm that the image was sickening. Obviously, we know that it's new but yet familiar. So my maybe you can help me here. My thought process was, okay, so we need a distraction from the Social Security theft. So this seems to be coming at a good time for Trump, but I'm concerned that Trump supporters are seeing this. Oh, they got the gangsters, but I'm just like, how did they get 300 of them all at once? I just sense that this is let's grab a few brown-skinned people, shove them all together, say they are from Venezuela. It's just concerning to me because I have so many. When my husband is holding a green card, and then all these people around me are undocumented or not, that they could easily become one of these prisoners. I don't know.
Well, let me just tell you, you're absolutely right, and this is not what you just said is not conjecture. It's actually been proven. And I did a story 2 days ago, I think right here on KPFT, where a Trump voting Latino, indigenous looking, because Latinos can be blue-eyed blonde like anybody else, okay? Latinos can be black, blue, anything. But when the indigenous looking Latino that voted for Trump, he was stopped, he was put in handcuffs, and they were getting ready to arrest him until he said just that. I'm an American citizen. I voted for Trump. Then without any apologies, they just kind of released him. But you nailed it. It's just a matter of gathering brown people that you think may be here in an undocumented fashion. That's why you don't see a whole lot of congregations congregating at Home Depot or in the normal spots that you normally saw. A lot of these guys that would do very good are out there just looking for a job, doing good work that Americans want. So look, you are absolutely correct. It's all for show. And it is so sad, inhumane, and immoral what they're doing. But again, there's a certain group of American citizens who that's what they want to see, and they get their rocks off when they see that. So that's what we're looking at, Robin. We have to start bringing some humanity back in most of us. Anything else, Robin?
Yeah, real quickly to people who might be thinking, oh, something good is being done, those images, at least question, were they really Venezuelans from a gang from Venezuela? I'm sure there's lots of mistakes in there. And then secondly, for people like me with white privilege, we are marching the streets. I'm protesting. The movement is growing here in Indianapolis, and
I
I
am
just
so
want to
proud of
thank
you,
people.
Linda. I got to go to another call, but I want to say how proud I am of you. It's not going to be, I couldn't show any of my videos today because of the time constraint, but that's what we're talking about. Forget about, it's not going to be the Democratic Party that save you. It's going to be
Oh,
Americans that save
it's going to be
Americans.
us.
Thank you so kindly, Robin. Let's go to Ilan. Come on in, Ilan.
Yes, this is Alana Lanapuram, mentor of Policies Start Left, reminding listeners that there are 4 political parties choices on the Texas ballot: Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, and Greens. Today is wearing of the Greens Day, and I'll be wearing mine. And I will say there's one Democrat that is not derelict, and ironically, his name is Al Green. He stood up in Congress, and I'm proud of him. So I've known him since we went to school together at TSU.
All right, Ilan.
Thank
I,
you.
I got to go. Thank you so kindly, my brother. Let me throw it to the studio before we close this baby down.
Oh, nothing here. Go ahead and take it home. Jack, what you got? Yeah, Jack says take it home.
All right, folks. Look, thank you all. I was long-winded today, but I thought the Social Security thing was very important for all our listeners to have. Whether you're a young Social Security recipient or an older Social Security recipient, you are in danger. We have to be ready to hit. I'm not going to say the streets, but to hit our Congress people with the right kind of knowledge. Anyway, folks, all the videos that I did, very important videos, can be found at politicsandright.com/newsletter. politicsandright.com/newsletter. You can reach me directly at kpft@politicsandright.com. kpft@politicsandright.com. My name is Egberto Willis. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government buy-in for the people. On the heels of drop charges